WhatsApp ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਇੱਕ ਵਾਰੀ ਫਿਰ ਤੋਂ ਆਪ ਸਭ ਦਾ ਬਹੁਤ-ਬਹੁਤ ਸਵਾਗਤ ਹੈ। ਹਰ ਹਫਤੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਅਲੱਗ-ਅਲੱਗ ਪਰਸਨੈਲਿਟੀਜ਼ ਨੂੰ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਲਈ ਪੇਸ਼ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ। ਇਹਨਾਂ ਵਿੱਚ ਕੁਝ ਪੋਲੀਟੀਸ਼ੀਅਨ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਆ, ਕੁਝ ਐਕਟਰਸ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਆ, ਕੁਝ ਸਮਾਜ ਸੇਵੀ ਲੋਕ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਆ। ਅਸੀਂ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਵੱਖੋ ਵੱਖਰੇ ਸਵਾਲ ਪੁੱਛਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਔਰ ਇਸ ਹਫਤੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਇੱਕ ਮਿਊਨਿਸਪਲ ਲੈਵਲ ਦੇ ਸਾਡੇ ਬਹੁਤ ਹੀ ਇੱਕ ਪਪੂਲਰ ਲੀਡਰ ਨੇ ਬਰੈਂਪਟਨ ਤੋਂ ਵਾਰਡ ਨੰਬਰ 3 ਔਰ 4 ਦੇ ਰੀਜਨਲ ਕਾਉਂਸਲਰ ਮਿਸਟਰ ਮਾਰਟਿਨ ਮਿਡੋਰਿਸ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਲਈ ਪੇਸ਼ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਹਾਂ ਔਰ ਅਸੀਂ ਕੋਸ਼ਿਸ਼ ਕਰਾਂਗੇ ਕਿ ਬਰੈਂਪਟਨ ਸਿਟੀ ਦੀਆਂ ਵੱਖ-ਵੱਖ ਮੁਸ਼ਕਲਾਂ ਔਰ ਇਸ਼ੂਜ਼ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨਾਲ ਡਿਸਕਸ ਕਰ ਸਕੀਏ। Mr. Martin, welcome to our program WhatsApp.
Oh, thank you very much, and Sat Sri Akal for everyone watching, and it's an honor to be here with you, Mr. Sani, again.
Okay. So last time when you were elected, you won by very narrow margin.
Yes.
But this time you had good lead. So is it your popularity, your work, or what do you think that you have been re-elected second time?
Well, I'd like to think that the first time people didn't know me as much, and I had God's grace to have won by 100 votes. I remember that night I gave a speech saying that I had lost because the numbers weren't in, and then after the numbers came in, and I've been very fortunate. It's been an honor, and certainly I think I've worked very hard. I think the community knows me more, especially I have a lot of work with our senior Punjabi groups. I've really learned more about the culture. It's enriched me. It's made new friends, and I think people have recognized the hard work I've done.
Mr. John Sanderson was a very popular municipal leader, so defeating him was a real challenge for you?
Yeah, I think a lot of people didn't expect for me to win, which I was surprised. So it's almost an uncomfortable feeling sometimes because you go and you speak to very close friends, and some of the friends are trying to put a brave face, but you feel that they're not 100% confident. I recognize Mr. Sanderson. He was a former mayoral candidate. He's given a good contribution. He's known as, I know he is very passionate about the community. I wish him the best. But I think that the city of Brampton and the residents and people Ward 3 and 4 knew that it was time to move on. It was time for us to keep going forward, not look back. And I'm just very thankful that they've restored confidence in me, and I don't take it for granted. Every day, a politician's life is almost the expression is, what have you done for me lately? And so I understand that I can never feel relaxed or feel confident, and that's the way I work. I work very hard for my constituents and very hard on ensuring that we improve the community.
You got good qualification, you got very good job, you were doing fine, perfectly in your job. What brought to you the politics all of a sudden? Well,
I would say it was a couple of things. I think one, I'm of Portuguese origin, and in the city of Brampton there's a large community, and we've never had any Portuguese representative in Brampton's history. So that was appealing. Certainly I've always involved in social issues and different causes, but because I was working for the province, I had to be politically neutral in, I guess, my civic life. But I always had a curiosity, and as people always find it was interesting, when I was 16 years old, I was on the Mayor's Youth Council. So, who would have known at 16 years old, when it was the first time I went to City Hall, I was there for a couple of years on the Youth Council, that would have been my first contact with politics and with City Hall, but I never dreamed I would actually, and to be honest, it was for you to jump into something like that, if you don't have support, and I had key support from different people, different organizations, community leaders, and I'm very thankful, and I think one thing that you find in politics these days, and sometimes especially at municipal level, people get into politics not for the right reasons sometimes. And I think people recognize that you needed someone who was thoughtful, who had, certain qualifications, but brought a fresh voice to the city.
It's said that once you win the nomination for any party at federal level, provincial level, you are at very ease, because now it's up to the leaders or the parties to win.
Yeah.
But for municipal elections, it's all at your own.
Yes.
So it's very challenging. That's why less people go for municipal elections, more they try for federal or provincial.
Yeah.
So why didn't you go for federal or provincial? Why did you choose for municipal? You would have gone for federal or provincial.
Yeah, it's interesting because my first term, I thought it was the municipal level was something for me that I had a keen interest on, working on municipal issues, especially at the region. Having worked in areas like employment, unemployment, job training, community social services, so I thought the region would be the best place for me. And certainly, being born and raised in Brampton, the idea of having to spend that time working at municipal level. Now, in terms of provincial, federal government, it's not an easy to win a nomination in Brampton specifically, and notwithstanding.
But if you have desire somewhere down the road, you will try.
I think it's natural evolution. I think over. Right now I love my job. Right now I'm still learning, and no one knows what tomorrow brings. But I think certainly if there's an opportunity in the future, it's something that I would consider. But right now I love what I do. I wake up every day excited to get to my job, help the issues, and but I will say one of the drawbacks that you do have, I think, at a provincial or federal level, as you know, if you're not a minister, to be a backbencher or sometimes you have to.
You have more ideas to dwell, more work to do.
That's right. So as a municipal official right now, you have the autonomy. You don't have the party whip. I'm an independent thinker. People know me as being sometimes very brash in council. I get very passionate about issues, and so that really excites me and what I'm doing. And I still think that I'd hate to leave after 1 or 2 terms when I haven't got the job done. We're trying to get the university launched. We're trying to get to better transit. The city's growing. It's exploding. So I would love to leave a legacy before I move on to something else. I'd like to prove myself to my residents, and the first 4 years was really about cleaning up a mess.
Yeah, here I want to ask you, during last council, there was lots of bickering, lots of division.
Yeah.
So many things were happening. That was your first term.
Yeah.
Now you're in your second term. You learned a lot during the last 4 years. So how you are taking this new council?
Well, I think, first of all, I'll reflect on myself. The first 4 years, the art of politics sometimes is how do you build constructive relationships even with your people who don't see eye to eye with your ideology. And that's the art of politics. And I will be honest, the first couple of years, I was very passionate about my position. I was very passionate about my issue. And, I would fight tooth and nail for it. And I think that's what, sometimes people respect me. But I think in my second term, I got to give credit to our mayor. Our mayor, Patrick Brown, has really provided the leadership and really has brought council together. And I recognize the way that he works with each councillor, and I think that previous councils where maybe we were on different sides, now, and it's not about being friends or any of that, but now I think we're a lot more cordial, we work better together. We share ideas, we have more communication, and we respect each other. And I think the previous term, but we had different issues. That's another. The situations were different. We had a big issue around LRT. We had a big vote in this term, and I think it was interesting that the dynamics changed and sort of that pressure changed. And but it's really hard to compare previous 4 years with what we had now. It was just different people. The people over here now, and I don't say because those people who left, but when you have change of faces, you have a lot more younger councillors who are a lot more thoughtful, qualified. So you work with them in a different way. And we had previous councillors who were there for 30 years. So they were set in their ways in terms of what they thought was for the city. So that sometimes was a little bit of a challenge to work with them. So
last time you were newcomer, you had senior members with you in the council. This time you are senior, and there are quite a few new councillors in that. So how are you getting along with them now?
Well, yeah, ultimately it's very cordial and respectful, and we work well together. I think there are times where, for example, Councillor Paul Vicente, he's of Portuguese origin, and sometimes
I think we have 4 or 5 new councillors this time.
Yes, I believe it's 5.
5. Yeah.
So it's 5 new councillors, and I have a good relationship with Councillor Harkirat Singh. He's new as well, and I think we have conversations and we give a little bit of history on what happened, but they're very thoughtful, they're very prepared, so they really don't need so much guidance from me. But I find every so often I'll give them a little bit of the history, what happens, and our relationship is great, and they bring fresh perspectives as well. And that's one thing that, as you can appreciate, when you're in City Hall, you think that your whole world is in those four walls. And as soon as you leave City Hall, you realize, you go, wow, people don't think this way, or people don't know this. And, speaking with some of the new councillors, as they bring that fresh perspective that sometimes we lose sight of.
As you said, you are from Portuguese community.
Yeah.
How much Portuguese community we have in Brampton?
Well, it used to be larger. So right now, I would say it's hovering around 18%, 17%. It's
in your own wards?
In my ward, it's the third most spoken language is Portuguese.
But you're very popular in the Indian community too.
Yeah, no, I tell you, I think I adopted, and I feel it's a blessing for me the way that my friends, if you look at my campaign, it was very much Punjabi support I had.
Punjabis are very aggressive in politics. Yeah?
No, the one thing I really respect about the community, they're very giving. They just want someone who's honest and works for the community. And when you work in that way, I don't tell them if I can't get things done, or I will never say that I can do something and not do it, and I will be very honest. And, one of the great things that I got to experience when I got reelected, a group of seniors, and it's International Seniors Club over there at South Fletcher's, and if anyone's watching, I say hello. But they took me out for a surprise dinner to congratulate me. And it's interesting that maybe one or two speak English. Out of a group of 30, no one else. So the way we communicate and interact, it was just very beautiful. I was very touched. A lot of hugging, and they have become very close with me. It's like very close friends, and they're the ones who I go to when there's community issues. They'll come out and support me, and that's a special bond that we developed.
As Martin has said that Brampton is a very diverse city. People from all over the world come here. They speak different languages, but Brampton has its own problems also, its own issues. It's a rapidly fastest growing city in Canada. It has its own problems. What the new council is trying to do with those problems, that's what we're going to ask him, but after the break. Welcome after the break. We are talking to Mr. Martin Medeiros, who is our regional councillor from Ward 3 and 4 in Brampton. So we are going to ask him few very, very important issues related to Brampton. So Brampton is fastest growing city, no question about that. People from all over the world coming here, settling here, making it home. But being a fastest growing city, it has its own problems. Transportation, affordable housing, health, you name it. But the biggest problem which I see right now is crime. Yes. Brampton was never like this earlier. So what are the issues council going to take to take care of that?
Yeah, and I think when you look broadly and you take a step back and look at crime and safety issues in Brampton, I think you have to start recognizing, as you said, we get 40 people every day that choose Brampton to live. So certainly the social issues that come with it, crime and safety, with the growing population, as we increase our population, obviously that we start seeing more increase in, or the impression that there's more criminal activity. What our Peel Police have said, and at Regional Council I've expressed this several times, that in terms of our criminal activity has actually been reduced, but violent crimes has increased. And that's very troubling. But certainly a motion that I brought in yesterday was specific to our downtown and why our downtown. I've had the residents say, well, it's a broad issue around the city.
It's everywhere.
It's everywhere. And, just to give you some context of what we've done, we've worked with Peel Police, increased their budget over the last couple of years. We've added 30 police officers. We want more of a community presence. In our downtown, there's been specific issues, which is not just crime and safety, but also a big addictions issue. So you have people who are homeless, you have people prostitution, you have mental health issues. So yesterday my motion with the support of my council's and colleagues was really about trying to look at crime and safety through various lenses. One is having a police presence. So our mayor, Patrick Brown, has already confirmed with our police chief that there will be a downtown community hub for our police officers. So we will have that presence. We will have people walking the beat. So you'll notice that presence. And what does that do? It's not simply about policing. It's about restoring confidence for residents to feel safe to go there and go shopping, go to the restaurants, because our businesses are struggling right now. They tell us that nope, but they're losing business. They deal with fragrancy. They deal with people coming in who have certain addictions. So one is the police presence. The other aspect, I think, which is important, not specific to downtown, but also all across when you deal with crime and safety, is the social aspect. So what we're going to do, and what I've asked Peel Region as a regional councillor and chair of human services, is we're going to have a targeted social intervention. And what does that mean? We're going to get social workers who go to our downtown and go to the people who have addiction. So if you have alcoholic addictions, then we're going to ensure that you at least know the supports we have in the area that can help you, and try to make it available. And if it's a question of transportation, if you're homeless and you need housing, a shelter, we're going to try to put you in the right place. If you need mental health support, we're going to try to get you. So we're going to have that social intervention very targeted to ensure that the people who are on the streets, it's not simply taking these people off the streets and and pushing them to somewhere other part of the city. It's really trying to get at the root of it. So when you look at crime and safety across the city of Brampton, one obviously is our growth. I think certainly there is, more dangerous criminal activity. That's why, I'm fully supportive of having gun laws, which are very restrictive. What you see in the United States, God forbid this would ever come to Canada. And I think the second aspect is the social aspect. So when I work with community organizations in my area, I look at the Gurdwara as an example. They have youth programs. When you get kids off the streets, when we offer recreational experiences, instead of charging, because a lot of these kids sometimes economically they're facing challenges. So why wouldn't we give them free access to our facilities, have more programming, support more community organizations that deal with them to get them off the streets? So that's more of a long term. So it's not simply about arresting someone and taking them out. There's that social impact, and I'm very much a firm believer that it's really multi-layered in how we address it as well.
Do we have any statistics since the Canvey shop has been opened in Brampton?
Well, it's interesting because the marijuana shop is actually in my area. It's the cannabis shop, and right now in terms of the laws of the land, they're doing their job, and I haven't had specific issues about the cannabis store per se. They've been good corporate citizens, and so I think. As far as the law, everyone's following the law. In terms of some of the impacts, I could not.
Is it positive, negative impact, or?
Well, I think right now there's no correlation, but certainly when Peel Police, they come in a couple months for the annual budget, and that's one of the things that we will ask. But we have no specific statistics.
We should have some analysis.
Yes, and that's what we're hoping for.
We open more shops, yeah.
That's right. That's right. And it's interesting. Even today at Peel Region today, we were talking about. One of the rationales for opting in is because we would get more money for crime and safety. So right now, Peel Region just received approximately $1 million, primarily because Brampton accepted it. Mississauga gets the money even though they opted out. They get less, we get more as a city, and Peel Region, which all the regions going to benefit, was because of us opting in, and that was exactly the reason. I think eventually municipalities are going to have to face the reality that cannabis shops are here, and they're only going to be expanding, unfortunately, and we want to ensure that they're zoned and regulated and they're operating properly and they're not underserving. But the big issue that we have right now in Brampton, our downtown, is alcoholism. Unfortunately, alcoholism, drug use, a lot of stores report to me finding needles on the floor, and that's why my motion yesterday was really about addressing some of those issues. We're ensuring it's easy for me to talk about police, it's easy for me to talk about residents' responsibility, but the city of Brampton themselves, we drop the ball in certain areas. If you go to our parking lots, if you go to some of our buildings, they're not the cleanliest areas. They're not the best lit areas. So, downtown we have a big parking garage. It's not in the best conditions. People don't feel safe parking their car there. We have to ensure that our property is 100%. It's clean. We have security there. So we're going to be investing more in our own internal security. So wherever there's a city building, a city facility, we're going to have more security there. We're going to ensure our bylaw officers there are really ensuring that businesses and establishments like bars or so on have the health and safety conditions in there. And so we have to look at our ourselves in the mirror and say, what can we contribute? And all of us can contribute something. But the City of Brampton, I think, thank you with my council colleagues, we set the gauntlet and we asked our city staff to really up our presence and ensure that all our facilities are functioning well, that we have security there. And if there's any way we can assist the community and work with our police forces, that's what we're going to do.
We lost LRT and hardly we could get new university. We got funding before the elections. Then all of a sudden we got an announcement that they're not giving us, province is not giving us. So where we stand now on university?
So university, our plans are still ready to go. We're actually, we've started with working with Ryerson University in terms of having downtown classes already. So they're having classes right now in the City of Brampton facility in downtown Brampton. So they're offering, I believe, business courses, cybersecurity courses already in downtown. So we're prepping, and obviously that was I guess a shot when the provincial government came in and they said that they were going to give us the money. That really set us back. But I respect that the province, you know, based on, I don't know.
We heard that Algoma University want to invest, and they will be coming up with some new programs.
That's right. So we've actually committed, and I think if I'm not mistaken, we've committed I think like $5 million to invest in expanding Algoma. But we expect the return on investment to be almost $20 to $30 million because they're going to increase their class sizes. They're going to be increasing enrollment. So what did we hear from downtown businesses is that we need more students downtown to establish their establishments. We need more customers. So that certainly is going to bring the customer base. And I think also when you bring more people in the downtown, you create more security because now you have more people who are living there, more vigilant. We have a building that's going to be opening up, an apartment building, a private condo, which will bring approximately 600 people to our downtown. And these are new customers. And so I think that's what we want to build. Right now our downtown is a special downtown, but there's really sometimes a challenge in terms of attracting people.
Before we wind up, last but very important question. What is the future of Peel region? You are representing city in the region also.
Yeah.
So what do you think will be the future of Peel region?
It's funny. We hear many rumors, and you know, certainly we've heard similar to what they did with Toronto, the amalgamation of having a Peel city. You know, there's some pros and cons. And then after we've heard Mississauga on its own and Brampton on its own, so that's another consideration. I think the region works. Works very well. I had the honor and the pleasure last week actually to go visit our social services, different areas that help people, our most vulnerable people. So I went to what they call an early on center, which is basically kids from 0 to 6 to help prepare them for school. Teach the parents, especially newcomers. There was, with the big South Asian community in my area, there was a lot of mothers and grandmothers with their little children, teaching them on how to get them ready for school. So that was, and then in the afternoon, I got to visit affordable housing, and then I visited where people are unemployed, people who have, for example, even funerals. People can't afford to pay funerals, and we have departments dedicated to that. So whenever the province talks about looking for those savings and looking for those efficiencies, the most vulnerable, no one has talked about what are you going to do with these services. The City of Brampton, to take over such a large dealing with social welfare, dealing with unemployment programs, that expertise, to take in all that staff, that's a huge undertaking. When you talk about ambulance services, what's going to happen with the police? So basically, in my honest opinion, what I think is going to happen, I'm not sure. You know, so what I think,
Let's wait till
it's unfortunate. If it was based on rationale, it was based on cost savings and what's the best bang for your buck. The studies we did at the region showed regional governance and the way that we work now is a lot more effective than what are the alternative methods. Unfortunately, with this government, you're not sure if it's going to be the premier, what we hear, if it's going to be a decision that he makes out of whim, or is it actually going to be based on, you know, the studies? And this is what we're going to have to wait for.
We have to wait. As we said in the beginning, Brampton is the fastest growing city. It has its own problem, multiple problems. You cannot discuss all those problems in one interview. we definitely we will invite Mr. Medoris very soon again, and we'll talk about all those issues in the next interview. But till then, you have to wait. Mr. Medoris, thank you very much for coming here and talking all these issues with us.
Thank you, Mr.
Thanks a lot.
Sani, and thank you to Pravarsi as usual. Thank you.